After years of teaching, the Buddha began to notice something that went beyond individual struggle. Suffering was not only personal, it was structural. It lived inside families, kingdoms, traditions, and beliefs passed down without question. People suffered not just because of craving, but because craving had been normalized. Competition was praised, attachment was encouraged, identity was reinforced from childhood. The Buddha saw that most people were not choosing suffering consciously, they were inheriting it. And this understanding changed the way he taught. He realized that awakening does not happen in isolation. A single mind can see clearly, but it is shaped by the world it moves through. Habits are reinforced by culture. Fear is inherited through stories. Desire is taught as survival. Even when individuals touch clarity, they were pulled back by expectations, roles, duties, traditions. The Buddha understood that liberation required more than insight. It required courage, the courage to see differently in a world that rewards blindness. He began to speak more often about right view, not as philosophy, but as orientation. How you see determines how you live. If the world is seen as something to possess, life becomes a struggle. If the self is seen as something to defend, fear becomes constant. But if experience is seen as process, not possession, something softens. The Buddha emphasized that suffering is not caused by the world being harsh. It is caused by the mind insisting that reality should be different than it is. He noticed how deeply people identified with their pain. Stories of injustice, stories of loss, stories of being wronged. These stories were real, but they also became identities. People did not just suffer, they became sufferers. And when suffering becomes identity, the mind protects it. Letting go feels like betrayal. Healing feels like disappearance. The Buddha approached this carefully. He never dismissed pain. He never denied harm. But he showed that clinging to pain does not honor it. It extends it. Many who listened to him struggled with this. If I let go of my story, they asked, who am I? If I stop holding on to anger, what protects me? If I release attachment, what motivates me? The Buddha answered not with reassurance, but with invitation. Look, see what remains when the story loosens. See what moves when fear is not steering. See how action arises naturally when confusion quiets. Motivation does not disappear. It clarifies. He also spoke about responsibility in a deeper way. Not responsibility imposed by law or morality, but responsibility born from awareness. When you see clearly, you cannot unknow the impact of your actions. Speech matters. Intention matters. Attention matters. This is not burden, it is alignment. When awareness is present, action becomes simpler. You do less harm not because you are good, but because harm no longer makes sense. The Buddha noticed that many wanted awakening to remove complexity from life, to simplify relationships, to eliminate conflict. But clarity does not erase complexity, it meets it. Relationships remain challenging. Loss still occurs, change continues. What shifts is the relationship to these events. Without clinging, pain does not harden into suffering. Without resistance, fear does not become paralysis. Life continues to move, but the mind moves with it instead of against it. He taught that the path is not about becoming invulnerable. It is about becoming intimate with experience without being consumed by it. This is why mindfulness was never meant to be narrow attention. It is broad presence, feeling the body while speaking, hearing tone while listening, sensing contraction before reacting. This kind of awareness is alive, responsive, human. Over time, the Buddha also addressed misunderstanding around detachment. Many believed detachment meant withdrawal, less feeling, less caring, less involvement. The Buddha corrected this repeatedly. Detachment is not distance. It is freedom from grasping. You can care deeply without clinging. You can love without possession. You can act fully without needing control. True detachment makes compassion possible because it removes fear from care. He emphasized that wisdom is not cold. It is warm. It listens. It responds. It adapts. A rigid mind cannot be wise, even if it knows many teachings. Wisdom is flexibility rooted in clarity. It is the ability to meet each moment without forcing it into expectation. This is why the Buddha discouraged blind adherence to rules. Rules without awareness become prisons. Awareness without rules becomes chaos. The middle way lives between them, guided by understanding rather than fear. As the years passed, the Buddha watched communities form around his teaching. Some healthy, some rigid, some alive, some dogmatic. He did not cling to any of them. He reminded his followers again and again, do not cling to the Dharma itself. The teachings are a raft, not a home. They are meant to be used, then released. Holding on to them after crossing creates new suffering. This was difficult for many. The mind wants certainty, structure, belonging. But the Buddha knew that any system can become another identity, another boundary, another place for the self to hide. So he encouraged questioning, direct experience, verification through living. Do not believe because I say so. See for yourself. If suffering decreases, continue. If it increases, look again. He also spoke openly about impermanence as the foundation of freedom, not as a depressing truth, but as a liberating one. When you truly see that everything changes, you stop demanding that it remain the same. Expectations soften, grief is allowed, joy is appreciated without clinging. Life becomes precious not because it lasts, but because it doesn't. The Buddha did not promise happiness. He promised clarity. And clarity does not remove pain, but it removes confusion about pain. This distinction was essential. Many confused freedom with pleasure. But pleasure depends on conditions. Freedom does not. Freedom is the absence of resistance to what is already happening. Near the later years of his teaching, the Buddha became quieter, not because there was nothing left to say, but because what mattered could not be explained further. He had pointed, he had clarified, he had repeated. The rest had to be lived. He continued to walk, to sit, to listen, to respond when asked, but he no longer tried to convince. Truth does not need persuasion. He reminded those close to him of one final thing. The path does not end, it deepens. Awakening is not a permanent state to hold. It is a way of meeting life, again and again, in each moment, as conditions change, as bodies age, as losses come. Awareness remains the only refuge, not because it protects from pain, but because it prevents pain from becoming suffering. And so the Buddha continued, not as a figure above life, but as someone fully within it, eating, walking, aging, feeling, responding. Free not because nothing touched him, but because nothing needed to be defended. The teaching lived not in words, but in presence. And presence, steady and open, became the final lesson.